不是这袜子舞到底是啥意思？之前有个地点叫桑迪的袜子舞，什么叫袜子舞？我要搜一搜。What？ 在辐射76以外，我从来没有听说过这个东西。我怎么都没搜到呢？靠，啥？为什么 sock hop？ 我搜英文吧。看看什么叫 sock hop。sock hop 又名 socks hop， 通称为唱片舞。20世纪中期北美为青少年举办的一种非正式但官方组织的舞蹈活动，以流行音乐为特色。袜跳舞一词的由来是因为舞蹈者被要求脱鞋以保护体育馆的清漆地板。啊，原来如此，就是那种学校体育馆里的那种舞会，但是是拖鞋保护地板，所以叫袜子舞。哦，哎呦，确实这种东西不在美国，而且它是20世纪中期的，50多年前的事儿了，现在已经没有这回事了。我高中也没有听说过这个事情。地盘争夺战。这是这周新的包啊，这是一个全新的包，很少见，已经很久没有全新的包了。但是这怎么看都像是应该在大西洋城更新的时候出的东西，为什么现在突然就出来了？这个粗犷绿植括号乘3是何意味？公路狂飙只有一个卡车帽。是以前没有的。哦，这个是乘3的意思。地盘争夺战。不查还真不知道。哎，这跳舞什么样子啊？到底？ 速，摇摆舞。这个就叫袜子舞，这还挺长啊，这舞蹈，哈哈，这舞蹈好长啊！它是自动循环的那种吗？还是它就是这么长？它好像是自动循环的那种。哎，不对，它就是很长。哇，这是不是目前最长的表情啊？它不是自动循环的，它非常长。这次出的那个动力甲叫什么来着？哎呀，这原子商店怎么这么慢？哎，动力甲怎么不见了？完了，我忘了它叫什么名字了。这不叫什么危险动力甲来着？哎呦，这要找可麻烦了，我靠！根本找不到。我就是记得他胸前有一些扳手，这是有点难找。啊，这个，哦，死神涂装。其实一看就是居民动力甲改的吧。但买都买了，你说这不用用也不行。就是居民动力甲重新涂了一下。这个是没有喷气背包的吧？这个还真没有喷气背包，这就是个小涂装，我只能说。 看一下这死神涂装啊，很明显啊，它下面像这是一个 HH 的涂装啊，原来不是，那为啥叫死神涂装？HH 就是那个罗伯特豪斯他弟弟那个公司嘛 ，HH2。我看这死亡爪，你哎我靠，真的，哎呀烦死了，刷我脸。这边写的啥呀？哦，这个是杀虫剂。这是一个他们那个工具公司的涂装，什么叫死神涂装？原因是对虫子来说是死神，有可能比较工业的一个涂装，但它其实就是换皮版的定居者涂装。袜子舞小子立牌，它这个迷你赛季比较烦的地方啊，就是它不能只拿我要拿，不像普通赛季，我有些都跳过了，我不要这个，我不要这个，我不要这个。但是这样我就能省一点，但是它这个就必须要强制给你全消化完了，现在。哦 fuck， 我是不是爆瓶盖了？哎呦，再给我爆瓶盖了，这一下真无语。fuck， 这，哎呦，早应该看一眼的，靠，他也不提醒一下，我觉得他就应该加个提醒，说你领取前可能瓶盖要超额了，他也不提醒你，直接咔。快点看看有没有什么东西能买，这里也没有。What the fuck？ 啊？这？我靠！不是，这出生点是搞什么？我吓死我了！我吓死我了呀！这里咱们有可以买的东西。 错机。放哪去了？我又找不到他贩卖机了。喂，哦，这儿也没有。
When I say the word luxury, what pops into your mind? Maybe a Lamborghini, a penthouse, a private jet? Mr. Beast, what if I told you there's a whole list of things that you never knew were luxury? What's at the top of that list? Glamping, like glamorous and camping. I literally saw a tent on Amazon for $879. I have so many questions that I want to answer, so in this video I'm diving deep into the belly of the beast that is luxurious camping. To experience everything that it has to offer, ultimately get to the bottom of one simple question. Is luxury camping really worth it? Now I know what you're thinking, Antonio. Would you really go out and spend $875 on a luxury tent just to answer that silly little question of yours? No. I actually booked a stay at a brand new luxury glamping resort. Yes, those are treehouse tents behind me. We're to explore everything this place has to offer, from luxury amenities to gourmet dining, all the way to exciting activities. But before all that, let's go drop our stuff off at where we're going to be staying.
Hey there.
4万是什么意思？有点离谱。
This mega airport is about to change the world of travel forever. It costs a whopping $12.5 billion, but you won't find it in America, Europe, or Asia. Over in East Africa, Ethiopia has begun work on the biggest aviation project in the continent's history. While places like Cairo International and OR Tambo are well-established hubs welcoming 20 to 30 million passengers each year, Bishoftu airports will soar above those figures. Forget 30 million. Ethiopia's new hub is preparing for a staggering 110 million travellers every year. That's millions more than Heathrow, Istanbul, Dubai, or even Hartsfield-Jackson. It's literally preparing to become the busiest airport we've ever seen. Africa has one of the world's fastest growing aviation markets. You might even go as far to say it's taking off. Now, for a bit of context, within the industry, one of the key ways of measuring growth is airline capacity, which basically boils down to the number of seats being flown. If an airport can increase its capacity by opening up more slots or welcoming bigger planes, then it's a sign that things are on the up. And in Africa, those stats are on a serious upward trajectory. Between May 2025 and May 2026, airline capacity for the continent rose by 6.7%, which is around 24 billion seats. During the same period, airline capacity in Southeast Asia grew by 1.7%. Europe saw a 2% increase, and worldwide, the average was just 1%. So 6.7% is huge. Over the next 20 years, Africa's aviation market is forecast to grow by more than 4% year on year. The market's rife with long-term opportunity. Hundreds of millions more passengers are set to take the skies over the coming decades. And that's not a coincidence. Agenda 2063 is a 50-year blueprint to transform Africa into a global powerhouse. The plan aims to, amongst other things, improve infrastructure and visa-free travel across the continent for its citizens. Several nations are already easing entry rules to boost tourism and increase intra-continental travel. In fact, some countries no longer ask African citizens to hold a visa at all. Now, there's huge evidence of this working elsewhere, such as in the Schengen area. But as demand and airline capacity increases, the travel hubs need to grow in tandem. As things stand, only 19% of intra-African routes feature direct flights. And if you look across the continent, there's no real hub. North America has Hartsfield-Jackson. Europe has Heathrow. South America has Guarulhos. Asia has Dubai International. And Oceania has Sydney Airport. Kind of really is time that Africa had a giant of its own. And it'll definitely need one key controversial amenity: public airport Wi-Fi, which, as a verified airport app myself, I know is, right until then, I'm using my code B1M, because we're about to land back in Ethiopia. Bishoftu Airport is about more than just creating a massive travel hub that's envied around the world. There's an element of practicality at play. Ethiopia's current key hub is Addis Ababa Bole International, which welcomes more than 20 million passengers each year. But while that's an impressive number in its own right, similar to Tampa International or Budapest, Addis Ababa Bole is set to hit capacity within the next few years. So to retake Ethiopia's reputation in the aviation market to the next level, it needs to substantially redevelop its existing airports. And that's a problem. If you look at its location, you'll notice that Addis Ababa Bole faces the same issue as airports in Sydney, Mumbai, London, and more or less any major city. It's trapped in. Now, as you can imagine, expanding the existing footprint would be more than a little bit disruptive. Which brings us to Bishoftu. About 35 kilometers away, the new site is less densely populated, which makes it the perfect location to construct a $12.5 billion new airport. Supported by about $4.5 billion of funding from Ethiopian Airlines, a further $8 billion is yet to be agreed, although negotiations continue with the likes of the US and China. The aim with Bishoftu International is to create a global travel hub connecting Africa, Asia, the Middle East and Europe. Basically, Ethiopia has looked at the work that places like Dubai and Istanbul have done to create enormous, well-connected airports that process millions of people and huge amounts of cargo every year, and it's decided it wants a piece of that action. While Bishoftu will eventually welcome up to 110 million people each year, that's only one Ethiopia is landlocked, and so another key component of this new megaport is cargo. Bishoftu is looking to process 4 million tons a year, which will place it in the top 5 cargo hubs worldwide. Now, handling 110 million people and 4 million tons of cargo is no mean feat. Luckily, we're dealing with ZHA architects here, and they're more than up to the task. Which is why Bishoftu is more than just a big terminal and a few long runways. It's an airport city. That means that on top of the airport, they're building hotels, retail spaces, offices, cargo processing facilities, and the obvious travel components that are key for an airport to be, well, you know, an airport. You see, the focus is on developing a site that can expand into a little city in its own right, and they're becoming pretty common as nations look to take advantage of the economic potential that a travel hub offers. They can be a whole lot more than just a passport checkpoint. Groundbreaking at Bishoftu took place in January 2026, and land clearance is now well underway. That's 35 square kilometres of land that needs levelling by December. By comparison, Heathrow is just 12 square kilometres and JFK International is about 21 square kilometres. So this thing is going to be massive. Unsurprisingly, construction has been broken up into phases. The first focuses on passenger facilities, support infrastructure, the airfields, travel connections to the site, runways and cargo facilities. That'll be ready for around 16 million travellers a year by 2030. And as for the passenger terminal, well, that's going to be enormous. For those of you who saw our video on Manila International, you might remember us talking about the enormous singular terminal they're constructing. It'll cover a whopping 350,000 square metres. Bishoftu's terminal is going to be nearly double that size. Each facet draws inspiration from Ethiopia's landscape, culture and climate. For instance, the terminal facilities and piers will be connected through a central spine referencing the Great Rift Valley, which cuts through the country near Bishoftu. That spine is intended to enhance efficiency, slashing transfer distances between gates. It's a critical aspect of the design because 80% of the people who arrive into Bishoftu International are never going to leave the airport. I don't mean that in the mafia sense. It goes back to what we talked about earlier. This is intended to be a huge connection hub. Most people, 80% of people arriving into this airport are going to leave again on a different airplane. Eventually, 4 code 4E runways will welcome real-time on site. And if you've misplaced your airport lingo dictionary, then don't worry, because that basically means that these runways are going to be long enough to welcome the biggest planes in the world. Now, I told you that Bishoftu Airport is currently under construction around 35 kilometres away from Addis Ababa because of space. And that is true, but it's not the only reason. You see, Bishoftu sits at an elevation of about 1,900 metres, which is around 400 metres closer to sea level than Addis Ababa. Now, you might think that would make life more difficult for planes because they've got further to climb when they take off and further to come down when they're landing. But actually, and I didn't know this, a lower altitude actually makes life easier for aircraft. As you'll know, if you've ever been up in the mountains, the higher you climb, the thinner the air becomes.
This is probably the highest I've ever filmed for B1M. I'm slightly out of breath because it is, yeah, a long way up.
Not only is it hard to breathe up here, but for a plane hurtling down the runway, a lack of density makes life that little bit harder. Now, without getting into the nitty-gritty of aerodynamics too much here, denser air improves aircraft performance because it allows jet engines to suck in more air molecules and therefore produce more thrust. The denser formation supports lift too, increasing pressure underneath the wings. Ethiopian Airlines says taking off from the new airport will require less fuel, which means they can fly further, offering better long-haul range. And that's pretty key for any global aviation hub that's looking to become a stop-off point for flights from around the world. Over the next couple of years, construction is going to continue on the first runway at passenger terminal and new road links to the site. In time, the area will gain those additional runways, a second passenger terminal, and a 38-kilometre rail link over to Addis Ababa. However, as with almost any major infrastructure project, there's opposition. About 15,000 people are going to be displaced by this new airport, which includes while that is standard, reported in February that Ethiopian Airlines had built underwater housing to displaced farmers, some residents report a lack of compensation and inadequate recent supports.
They have given our parents houses, but the youth got nothing.
At the time, Ethiopian Airlines CEO Mesfin Taseo claimed the farmers who'd lost their land had already moved into their new houses. There are also questions about how a country with a comparably low GDP can afford to spend this amount of money on a single piece of infrastructure. Although it's worth pointing out that the government itself is paying Bishoftu airports. On the other hand, supporters think this airport's going to be transformational for the nation. And while that might be true, establishing a giant isn't as straightforward as just building a huge terminal and expecting 110 million people to turn up. Bishoftu Airport is competing with a number of established global air hubs like Dubai International, Istanbul, and Heathrow, just to name a few. Even within Africa, Egypt is looking to overhaul Cairo International, which is currently the continent's biggest airport. Today, it serves around 30 million passengers a year, but the plan is to double its capacity. But even if Cairo welcomes 60 million passengers, it's still not on the same scale as the world's busiest airports. Ethiopia plans to leverage its position to build upon what we've already pointed out is one of the fastest growing aviation markets in the world. And that'll support the African Continental Free Trade Area, an agreement between more than 50 countries to grow the African market through a reduction in tariffs, improved relations, and simpler trade processes. Many African cities are short on direct intercontinental flight paths, so this could become that connection point. Then there's Ethiopian Airlines, a global carrier in the country. It's one of the best connected airlines around, so it'll bring well-established connections to Bishoftu. In return, the airport's going to offer Ethiopian Airlines a massive base to expand from. In fact, the carrier is already adding new jets to its long-haul fleet to develop further connections across the continent and onto the rest of the world. And let's not forget that cargo. Ethiopian Airlines is already a massive carrier of freight, which goes hand in hand with the aims of this new hub. And the fact that Bishoftu is being constructed from scratch is another cause for optimism. This is a bespoke, custom-built mega hub. There's no aging infrastructure, no merging of the old and new. The place is being designed with massive cargo areas, rail links, and those huge passenger terminals that will hopefully process millions of people every year. Of course, it would be naive to deny the challenges that lie ahead. There are no guarantees that enough people are going to travel through this airport to make it worthwhile, with established rivals not too far away in the Middle East. Full funding is still to be secured, and while the reports look promising, closing $8 billion in a year is not going to be easy. Still, it wouldn't be the first construction project ever to start work before the full funding had been agreed. It also would be the first project ever to run into issues because of its financial planning. What we can say is that we know Africa's aviation industry is on a sharp upward trajectory. There's opportunity here for those bold enough to take action. And given the promising early signs, don't be surprised if in years to come you find yourself sitting in an airport lounge in Bishoftu while you wait for your connecting flights. This video was sponsored by Cogni. Don't forget that you can get a massive 60% off their annual plan using my code, the B1M. Just scan the QR code on screen or head to the link in the video description. And as always guys, if you enjoyed this video and you want to get more from the definitive
ません、お待たせいたしました。
走行中は大変危険ですので、なるべくご家庭にご利用ください。車内一番後ろにはパウダールームがございます。ご利用の際は、備え付けのリーフレットをご覧ください。各のともに全て禁煙です。車内で個室ではございますが、何回な
Today I'm going to show you how to survive a long haul flight like a boss, even in economy class. I've been traveling the world almost non-stop for almost 7 years now, and I've had my fair share of long haul flights. Many of these long haul flight tips I had to learn the hard way, which really can make your trip suck. To help you avoid the suckiness, here's exactly what you need to do. We'll start with some general long flight tips that are often forgotten, and then we'll get into some clever hacks to never suffer from jet lag again. First and foremost is your fanny pack. I don't care if it's ugly, it's an absolute long haul flight essential. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Not only does it help you stay organized while you're going through airport security and give you extra free space for packing, but it also makes your long haul flight more comfortable. You can keep all of your essentials at arm's reach, which means that you don't have to get up all the time and mess with your overhead luggage and hope that all your stuff doesn't come crashing down on other people's heads. I'll link to the one I use that has tons of space. It's pretty cheap on Amazon, and taking a laptop or an iPad or something, you need to have a personal item that actually fits below the seat in front of you. This is oftentimes easier said than done because many airlines don't list what the dimensions are below their seats. They just say that it has to fit below the seats, and so you don't know exactly what size bag you need. That said, you should be pretty safe if your bag measures below 16 by 12 by 6 inches. I recommend using a flexible backpack and not jamming it completely full. That way, if the dimensions happen to be a tiny bit smaller, focusing on the greasy food and salty food, eggs.
Sleeping on a plane is hard.
You have to plan ahead.
It happens when soft tissue. Then there's your posture.
But everybody has softs. Well, just for sort of mention, your body already has to endure weight bearing force through your spine, your hips, your pelvis.
To be or not to be? That is not a question anymore. Aisle seat or window seat? Now that is the question. If you do ask Hamlet or other people where they prefer to sit on a plane, you'll get tons of different opinions. But is there really some bottom line to this debate? Well, let's find out. I'll begin with the window seats because, frankly, I prefer them myself. The first and most obvious reason is, of course, the view. I mean, what could be more beautiful than a city from a bird's eye perspective? Right. Only a city from a bird's eye perspective at sunset or sunrise. And if you're like me, and I understand if you hope you aren't, then you understand that you can only enjoy the magnificent view if there's no head bobbing in front of you. Looking outside just isn't the same when you're not next to the window. No compromise here. But there are other reasons you should choose to tuck yourself in the corner, and some would probably call them even more plausible. For example, if you're a good sleeper, there's nothing better than to take a window seat on a long-haul flight. When you're at the wall, no one will disturb you when going to the bathroom, and there's also a nice support to lean on if your neck is stiff from lying upright. And although sleeping like this is still pretty uncomfortable, again, just imagine waking up to an amazing view out the window. Okay, you might not give a darn as to the view, and sleeping on an airplane might not be an option for you. But I say you should still consider taking the window seat, because if you're in an aisle seat, chances are someone on a fully booked plane would eventually ask you to switch seats with them to be with their companions or family. And although flight attendants always ask passengers not to do that, you might be too polite to refuse. When you sit at the window, however, no one in their right mind would bother you with such a request. Come on, you're sitting too far away, and it's way too inconvenient to switch seats with you. Isn't it great? In addition, sitting at the window gives you full control of the shade. If you want to sleep, but the light from outside is too bright for comfort, hey, just roll it down. And if you'd like to enjoy the view of the clouds or landscape below, feel free to open it back. No one will say a word to you, and that's just perfect. And finally, you get to be the first to take your seat when boarding. That's kind of small comfort, especially since you might have to wait for your neighbors to get off their seats they've already taken. But hey, it's your rightful place. No need to feel bad. All right, window seats covered. Let's hear the opponents of these arguments. I must say they have valid points too. First, an aisle seat gives you plenty of legroom, which can't be said about window seats. If you ever feel stiff from sitting with your legs bent at the knees, you can always stretch them in the aisle. And what's more, even if the person in front of you decides, against all rules of politeness, to recline in their seat, you'll still have that extra space for your legs. Say no to bruises on your knees. On top of that, you are always free to go to the bathroom or just walk a little bit to bring life back to your lower limbs. You don't have to ask anybody to let you out, hearing tut-tuts or other annoying noises. By the way, have you ever noticed how slow many people are to let you through? I guess no one likes to be disturbed. Now, do you try to vacate your seat quickly to get this over with sooner, or are you among those slow risers? Let me know down in the comments. Anyway, aisle seat isn't only about legroom. Let's admit it, sometimes we forget things that could be useful during the flight in our carry-on bags and stuff them into the overhead bins. If you sit at there is a seat on an airplane that
For the first time in more than 50 years, New York City is facing a major housing crunch.
Paying about $3,700 a month just down to kick New Yorkers out of their homes, all to raise rents.
Finding a job in New York is really hard, but finding a place to live might be even harder. 2 months ago, I moved from the Netherlands to New York. And back home, life was really comfortable. But then I met a girl on the other side of the world. I fell in love with her, and that changed everything. And now I'm here, and I'm starting completely over. And the first thing that I have to do is to find a place that I can call home. The problem is, I don't make a lot of money, and my budget allows me to get a room for under $1,000. So in this video, we're gonna find an affordable room. So this is Bushwick, and something that you should know about Bushwick is that it was actually a really ugly area. This was used to be all warehouses and factories, and nowadays there live a lot of artists, a lot of creative people, a lot of musicians. They brought a lot of color to it. Everywhere where you look, you see creative art. It is fantastic. And also a really big Cuba population is here. I actually really like this place, but the only thing is, it is really far from Manhattan. So right now I am in Ditmars, and Ditmars is in the back of Astoria. I would really like to live here because it is way more affordable. And it is really, really peaceful here. Astoria is known for is the quiet park that they have, all the good food, really lovely. Just one bridge away, you're in Manhattan. But if you would like to club, then you don't want to live. This is not the place for you. There are a lot of families here. It is really peaceful. And that's actually something that I really like, that I would like to live in. This is Harlem. And Harlem is one of the most historical neighborhoods of whole New York. It is famous for the Harlem Renaissance. Soul and jazz in the 80s became all popular around the world because of this neighborhood. And to be honest, you can kind of still see that here. And if I want to live in Manhattan, this is probably my only option. But today I'm checking out the neighborhood for the first time. I've seen so far that there is a really big difference between the east of Harlem and the west. The west is like way more luxurious and looking good. If I would live here, I would probably live more on the east side. So now I've found 3 affordable places. It's time for me to apply for rooms. And you can do that by Facebook groups, by apps, by websites. But at some point, I got on the call with someone and someone said, hey, you could potentially be my roommate, super nice and stuff. But then I found out about a whole different problem that's actually way worse than my budget problem. I'm talking about the 40 times rent. In New York, it doesn't really matter if you can pay the monthly rent. It matters if you can prove that you make 40 times the monthly rent. So for example, my budget is maximum $1,000 a month. So that means I have to make at least yearly $40,000. And I don't even make $30,000. So that leaves me with only 2 options. One, I can take over someone else's lease, a sublease, or I have to find a landlord that is willing to rent out by a month-to-month basis. And that makes my chances just really, really small. Right now we're in Uber in Brooklyn, and we're on our way to view an apartment. This is the first time that I actually are gonna view an apartment. I have no idea how it's gonna be. Maybe there are 10, 20 people that are visiting the room, and maybe it's just me. So we're gonna see how it's going on, and I'm excited.
Okay, great. Awesome. Decent area.
It is, yeah, it's a decent area. It is very small.
Small room.
It's a small room.
But like, you kind of expected that.
Yeah, it doesn't really look really good. I wasn't liking the apartment at all. But what other option did I have? We were searching for so long. We were blocked by apps, by Facebook. But the next morning, I got a text message. This was great news. The whole day I was nervously looking at my phone. I have really, really exciting news. I just had to call it outside of my job. My girlfriend was able to go to the apartment visiting, and she said it was a really nice room. And it is in Woodside. I have no idea where Woodside is, but she said it was 40 minutes away. And they said, oh, they already sent my papers over. My girlfriend has that. And they're gonna send a lease agreement. So I'm probably gonna have this apartment. This is all the photos of the apartment. That is really, really nice. But I have not been there yet. So I have no idea how it really is, how it feels, how the area is. But I still have to see if the apartment is nice. So I'm really, really curious there. Today is a really good day. Today I'm moving out, I'm gonna pack my stuff, and I'm gonna go to my own room. Super excited. I only saw it so far. Yeah, just on a picture. So let's see. so good. It's so good. This big AC, taking already. Suit closet here.
Cheap dresses.
Two dresses there. Your closet. So this is my room. Let me show you the kitchen. That's over here. It's really nice. I really like it. I love that everything is clean. Apparently, these rooms, they are also pretty strict in it. So, for example, they have a whole cleaning schedule. I actually really like that because I come from a household where they're pretty strict. And the bathroom is really. That's it. It's actually great. But yeah. There's another room, there's for my room. I haven't been there yet, so yeah, it feels a little strange, you know, it's my room, but it also feels a little like I'm in a house with someone else, and it's definitely also true. I'm gonna do so many cool things with this room. For example, I'm gonna use this wall for this room, this side. This also needs some love. It really does. It needs some love, people. Something that I wouldn't expect to tell you is that this room is actually bigger than my room in the Netherlands. I have over here an extra closet with a lot of space that I actually don't really use because I don't really have so many clothes. And over here I have all photos on the wall of my friends and family. Putting on the wall and looking at all the pictures of us together, it makes me feel close to them. So over here I have my setup where I edit all my videos. Really happy with that. I love this apartment, and it is really important because it's the first step in building a life here. You cannot build a life here without like a place to live. I feel like step 1 is check, and step 2 would probably be like how to make friends here. And I don't really know because I'm new to the city. If you do want to know and see how to make friends here on this channel and building a life from scratch, subscribe.
Today I'm in New York City. I'm going to stay in 2 hotels. One costs less than a night out, the other costs more than a month's rent.
In a few weeks, I'm going to be headed on a multi-month trip. And today, I'll share exactly how I am able to pack everything comfortably into one single bag without feeling like I'm sacrificing anything. Everything, of course, starts with the bag itself. And the one that currently fits my needs is the travel backpack by a company called Pack. Next, for ease of access, this backpack behaves much like a luggage, enabling tremendously easy packing and unpacking because of its main compartment, featuring a complete clamshell. Like a real luggage, each half of the clamshell has its own full wraparound zip compartment to keep things organized. There are, of course, many other pockets and compartments, which of course begs the question, what do I actually pack? There are 4 key categories: clothes, tech, hygiene, and support. First, however, is clothing, and this is a category that causes most people to way overpack. The answer to clothing overpacking challenges lies in 2 words: merino wool. It's a miracle fabric that, when it's of high quality, can be worn every single day for literally a month, and it will never smell them. Key categories: clothes, tech, hygiene, and support. First, however, is clothing, and this is a category that causes most people to way overpack. The answer to clothing overpacking challenges lies in 2 words: merino wool. It's a miracle fabric that, when it's of high quality, can be worn every single day for literally a month, and it will never smell bad. And because it's naturally antimicrobial, it's not just masking odors, but actually stays when clean. The 2 brands I trust are Unbound Merino and Western Rise, neither of whom are sponsoring this video. I have just worn both extensively in previous multi-week trips. A side note for the women, Unbound Merino has a complete women's line as well. In total, I have 10 pieces of clothing, including everything that I actually wear. On my body is an Unbound Merino Superfine Tensile jogger in an olive green, and an Unbound Merino t-shirt in navy. Up top is the Versa hat by Western Rise, and although it's not merino wool, it is 100% waterproof, has 4-way stretch, and I don't know what the brim is made of, but it can be folded and creased to absolute hell, and just a few firm pulls gets it back to crispy new condition. On my feet are white sneakers, and for me personally, The industries that I serve, these are perfectly acceptable for my business meetings abroad, and of course, great for casual everyday wear as well. Meaning these white sneakers, the ones that are already on my feet, are the only shoes that I need to bring. If it's cold on the plane or in transit, I'll of course also wear the unbound Marine hood, also removed. But if not cold, I have two large pressure packing shoes that sit there. And in the first one is my tops, which would go with a merino hoodie, a matte red unbound t-shirt, and this concrete merino wool button-up called the Limitless Shirt by Western Knots. The side note here, the reason I choose this Western rise button-up is because I like that this one has these collar buttons to keep the collars there. I bring this button up since this white shirt is so versatile enough for business meetings and day events. Finally, in terms of tops, I also pack a white Arizona athletic t-shirt by Uniqlo for sleep and in my second large zipper compression packing shoe on my bottom. Again, I'm typically wary of the unbound utensil blend pajamas and my so my only other long pant is the Spectra jogger by Western Knots. This is not merino wool, but what I love about them is that despite being a jogger, their cut and flat tightweight polyester actually lets these pass. In my second large season, I choose this Western rise button-up pump, so it's great for casual everyday wear as well. Meaning these white sneakers, the ones that are already on my feet, are the only shoes that I need to wear. If it's cold on the plane or in transit, I'll of course also wear the unbound also but if it's not cold, I have two large compression packing shoes that sit there.
哪来的音乐还卡上？这还配乐是吧？
Good travelers are good problem solvers. It will probably rain when you forget to bring your umbrella. Your bag might just be a little bit too heavy to lug across town. It might be a little too hot or a little too cold outside. Maybe you forgot to pack your underwear and socks. Or you're completely wrecked after 14 hours of travel. Well, these 8 problems can all be solved at Japanese convenience stores.
Let's start with the bag problem. Wouldn't it be ideal if you could just ship your bag to your next location? And yes, that's a cleaning robot with chips on it in the background. You can walk into a 7-Eleven and ask to ship your bag.
Oh fuck!
Then they give you the sheet.
有完没完？
Here's me using all my brain power to fill it out. Then I paid 1,430 yen, which is about $9 US. Then we officially hand the bag over. Hopefully it arrives.
It's got little feet.
This room is 242 square feet. It expands from your bedroom to your living room to your home office to your walk-in closet.
This is the most futuristic apartment ever designed, and not only are we 54 floors above Manhattan, renting an apartment like this is going to save you thousands of dollars a month over something that might have to be bigger to fit all the same stuff.
And you're saving money on moving costs because your bed and your sofas are here.
Oh, it comes with all this stuff.
Yeah.
And this building's in one of the most convenient parts of town. Literally right next door, Bezos Farm. There's a Sweet Green. And that, my friends, is the Highline Park. And this massive silver building, these are all the shops at Hudson Yards. Plus, there's real Mexican food. There's even a private tennis court. Up here's the Highline Park extension, which I haven't seen yet. Elevator's nice. Oh, that's great. Literally, this is like having a backyard where you can sit with strangers, watch these guys build this building, and obey these rules. I've actually never been to this mezzanine level area before. It feels like a raised city, and that's kind of what it is. And look at that. You got the ESB right there. This is what the future of New York is going to look like. And it fits nicely with the apartment we're seeing today. Yeah, how do I get to 54J? What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
I want one. Can I have one?
You can find all our apartments that are available for rent at rent.worryliving.com. But we've got apartments in New York, San Francisco, Boise, Buffalo, Fort Worth, St. Louis, Portland, Los Angeles, everywhere.
When a developer says, hey, I want to put these in my building, how does that help them?
So studios are kind of hard to rent, right? Nobody wants to live in a shoebox. It makes the studio much more comfortable and functional and feel more like a one-bedroom. So that's a win for the landlord. It makes it easier for them to rent. They can put a little bit of a premium on a studio unit, but still less than the one-bedroom. So this apartment rents for about $4,600, luxury brand new building in Hudson Yards. One bedrooms, however, rent for $6,400, so it's an $1,800 a month difference.
So this saves you almost $2,000 a month, and you still have a separate sleeping area. How many things does it do?
Office, walk-in closet, living room, bedroom, and I can think of a lot of fun ways to spend $2,000 a month in New York City.
So can you. Apparently, in the future, we will still use ovens and cook our own food. What that food will be, that's another topic of discussion. Do we have to wash our own dishes in the future? Oh, sweet.
We got machines for that.
Awesome. Also, in the future, Starbucks will still be around. Keurig's will still be around. That's a good thing, though. Keurig has improved. This is not bad. Now, normally this kitchen would take up half the available space in this apartment, and that's just a reality of living in New York City. There's only so much place to put things. Is there a certain minimum size for a functional kitchen? There probably is.
I would say so.
We've got about 2 feet of width here. I don't think you could pull anything out of that oven if it were any narrower. Yeah, look at that. If this gets any smaller, it's going to be like difficult to use. And honestly, even without any of the modifications that we have in this place, it renting for $4,500 plus, that's normal in this city. Where's our cook closet?
Got one immediately on your left when you come in.
Okay.
It's not too big.
But it's big. And then this is another one. This is a pantry.
Right.
Oh, okay. Not every luxury apartment has one. So Andrew, let's say I just made food. I'm hungry. Where's my kitchen table? What do I do?
I'll show you.
That's awesome. How many square feet does this little micro office take up? This is incredible.
Yeah, so basically it's like an entertainment center where it's closed. And
Okay.
then it's open. You got a full office.
Ooh, look at that. Everything moves. This is more office than I have in my 2-bedroom. And it came out of the wall.
Everybody needs good lighting for their Zoom calls down, so you got some nice soft lighting in here. You got your stand-up desk on the backside.
Oh, that's what this is right here.
Mhm.
Ah.
And then your chair, you don't have to move it out. It's got a little cubby for it.
This is an incredible amount of pocket storage. Right now, there are people living in apartments in New York that have kitchens with less cabinet and shelf space than this. Look, everything opens, you got drawers, shelves for books that will help you sleep well at night. So we've got almost 3 feet at the narrowest point here, and I just love how everything is so easy to work with. Look, everything slides perfectly. You could invite people into your library and pick out a book. What did you get? Anything good?
I've read this one.
But there's one thing about this that I can't seem to figure out. How did it move? There's no train track for it. What's going on?
So come over here. This little track on the ground is the guidance track. What provides it power. It's basically just really strong double-sided tape that sticks it to the ground so you don't have to make permanent changes to the unit to install it.
So this installation, which seems really solid, it doesn't damage the apartment in any way.
Exactly. You put in anything.
Now we still have a whole bunch of other tricks to see, but look at how little space this takes up. Like, look at that. The living room remains usable even if you're in the office. Yes, it's very easy to close, but if you did want to leave it open, it comes to about where the rug is, and whether it's up or down, everything here works nicely. It's a walk-in closet. Bathroom